All right, so we are in here today and we are going to create a new document for the anchor base. So name that anchor base hyphen your first initial followed by your last name. So, and we will create this. Now, as you're coming into these different drawings and problem challenges, we are given isometric drawings. My recommendation to you is you take a look at the drawing and kind of decide how to approach it either from the front, top, or side view. Um, some of this is testing your ability to view things and solve some of these visual relationship problems. So in the case of the anchor base on page 5-28, which is exercise number 2 here, I'm going to start out by drawing and sketching in the front view. So I'm going to select that and bring my front view over here. Now, I am looking in the isometric, I'm going to look at what I consider the front view, which is my view normal on the right side, looking kind of at the right side at an angle. So, and as I take a look at this, I'm going to start with a corner rectangle here. So, and I can see the dimensions. So make sure that you're looking at the print. The dimensions of this are going to be 3 by 1 inch. So, and we'll make sure that we've got that in here. Let me change this. So dimension right here to 1 inch so that we've got that in there. Now, I also can tell that that bottom line goes 5 inches. So I'm going to also come in here and say we're going to add this and make this another 2-inch line just to kind of draw that sketch. And for right now, I'm going to escape out of that. All right. The only other thing that I can see here that I know for sure that I have is the circle, the 1 3/4 inch center circle and that 1.5 inch radius at, up top. So let me go ahead. I'm going to draw this center circle here, and this is a 1.75 diameter circle. Now, we've got the circle, but it is not dimensionally constrained. So we have to constrain that dimensionally. So I'm going to come up here to my dimension tool, and I can see that the distance from the center of this circle down to the bottom of this line is 3 inches. So I'm going to dimensionally constrain that to 3 inches. And the other dimension basically puts this at 5 inches from there. So because the center of this circle goes right up to this point. Now, when I drew this, I could have put that constraint in there. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to kind of come in here and we're going to delete this out for a second. Okay. So I'm going to delete that out. I'm going to actually, since I know that the center of that circle falls at 5 inches, which is right here, I'm going to actually start by dimensionally constraining that in the X. So let's come back here to our center point. Now I can kind of highlight over this. Notice how it gives me those lines, and I will left click and create my radius here, which is, or my diameter, which is 1.75. So now I have that dimensionally constrained to 5 inches based on the length of these two lines. It's really constrained to the end point. So if I were to come in here now, let me escape out of that drawing tool. If I were to change this to 1.5, that moves it, because I've constrained this to that endpoint. So we have to be aware of what these constraints are. In this case, we'll keep that at 2 inches. Now, let me go back to my circle tool here, because we also know that we've got another, I can kind of use some more construction geometry. This diameter is going to be 3 inches. Why? Well, if you look at the print, this is a 1.5 inch radius. And I can see that I've got a line that runs from this point up to here, and another line that's going to run from this end point over there. So let me go to the line tool. Now in this case, I will select here to start, and we know that this should be tangent. So as you come up here, be careful. Make sure that you select and use the tangent symbol. So to place that line, right click, escape out of the line. So let me come back, and now I'm going to do the same thing. I've got this line to go from here, and again, we want to make sure that this is tangent. So kind of follow along until you get that tangent symbol to make that tangent. Left click, right click, escape to get it. So there I have drawn the sketch of this front view. So I'm done with the sketch. So I'll click the green check mark. So let's kind of come back in here to my isometric view so that we can see this. At this point, I'm ready to extrude. Now, you can extrude this. I'm going to start a couple of different ways. I'm going to extrude with this part and that part. Now notice, I could have also trimmed that circle out, but I didn't need to, so I can just kind of extrude it from that point. Now since our print dimension is kind of going both ways here, I'm going to make this symmetrical, and we know that that dimension of that feature on the part is 1 inch. So I've got that taken care of. So let's go ahead and click the check mark. So that is extruded. Now, as soon as we extruded that, our sketch was consumed. So I need to go back in, click the eyeball on the sketch so that I can bring that in. We're going to now extrude this part here as well. And we're doing the same thing. We're going to keep this symmetrical, and we know that that dimension is 4 inches. So place that. That's finished. We will go ahead and put the green check mark. So now, as you look at this, 2 more things that need to be done. Well, there's 3 more things that need to be done. So we've got to add some radii. So I see that there's a, so I'm going to go here to my fillet tool. And in this case, I know that there is, on the outside, there's a radius of 0.75. So I'm going to put that here and come back over here and this corner. So I've got those radius right there. That's good. We'll check mark that box. So let's come back. Now I also have a radius in these 2 corners on both sides of this as well. So let's go back to our fillet tool. In this case, that radius, according to the print, is a radius of 1. So let's make that change. And now I'm going to click here on that edge and rotate it around, and we'll click here on that edge. Green check mark. So now I've got the radiuses put in there too. So last thing that is left is for us to draw those 2 circles, or the holes that are there. So let me go ahead. I can sketch on this plane. So we're going to draw first. We'll just draw the circles. So here in this case, we know that circle is going to be diameter of 0.75. Again, I can place that next other circle up here anywhere I want, but we know that these 2 kind of share the same center line, so we can kind of constrain these together here. Now be careful as you do this. Notice how that locks in. If I place and left click right here, not only am I constraining it to the center of the 3/4 inch circle below, but I'm also constraining that to the end point of that fillet, which I don't want. So move that off. Make sure that you're not on that fillet. So left click, and again, this will be 0.75 as well. So we placed the holes. Now we need to dimensionally constrain those. So go back into the dimensional constraint, and we know from looking at the print, from the center line to this outside edge is 0.75, 3/4 of an inch. And again, I need to constrain it. So say we've constrained that in the Y, so to say. I also need to constrain that in the X. So let's come in here, dimensionally constrain that to this line, so and place that, and we can take a look, and we see that that is 1.5 inches there. Notice how that shifts both of them. That leaves us 1 more constraint, which is position up here. Now we're not really seeing and given that on that print, so we can make some assumptions that they want that in the same orientation. So I'm going to dimensionally constrain that from this edge. So let me go from this edge to the center in this way, and we'll make this 0.75 as well, making the assumption that it's the same on both sides. So that sketch is finished. So check off my box there. Now I can come back in here. If I go to my isometric, we're going to extrude this. So I'm going to select that circle and this circle. We don't want to add material on this. In this case, we're going to change our end type from blind down to through all, and we're going to remove that material instead of having it being added. So, and we're going through all. So there we go. Now I've got those holes. At this point, my drawing is finished and complete. So I'm going to turn off the eye view on all three of those planes. I'll turn off the eye view on my sketch, come back here to my isometric drawing, and I am good to go with this drawing.